Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Stephanie and this is Fabulous Steph. I am going to just be doing my makeup like this today. It's not really a tutorial, it's just kind of like a getting ready with me kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and use my 24A Artist Pass palette. So if you do have that and want to recreate this with me, then please feel free to go ahead and grab it before you continue. Otherwise, enjoy. Thanks for watching. Okay, so this is more like a getting ready with me than a tutorial type thing. I just felt like I'd done a lot of unboxings lately and I wanted to have more conversational, kind of look at what I'm using, not at what I'm just being like sent kind of thing. So that's kind of why I'm here. Looking like a Sephora employee for anyone who's watching from North America. This is a Zara hoodie that I got whilst I was in the US. Whilst I was in Toronto. And I was working for Zara and I was like, oh, it's cute. And then I walked into a Sephora store wearing it and like genuinely people were asking me for help because they thought I worked there. And then I came back to like Zara to my store and one of like the team had said, you kind of look like you should be in Sephora and not in here now. So it's like really ingrained in me that this looks so strange to some people. Like I look like I'm wearing a uniform. I'm not wearing a uniform. Would love to have worked for Sephora, and I actually met this really great girl called Simran who works for Sephora, and she's on my Insta and she does photography and she's so arty and like brilliant. And all of the people that I seen that worked there, like yes, some of them were kind of stuck up, but they were all brilliant with makeup and like they clearly had an excellent collection, and I already know that they got some brilliant freebies, and that is a life I would like to live, but it's not my life. So I'm just here embodying my inner Sephora rep, and I'm going to do some makeup. So getting started, today I'm going to be in my house more. It is quite warm in my house at the moment. It's mild outside, we've had the heating on, so what I'm feeling is that my skin is quite hot to the touch. When my skin is hot to the touch, if I put on something that is quite mattifying and doesn't allow my skin to breathe, it's going to become more oily. I have typically an oily T-zone and dry cheeks kind of area, so I don't really want to be oily. Like it's not the dream, it doesn't feel very nice. You kind of just feel like sweaty or whatever and like bleh. And that's just not something anyone wants to emulate. So the first thing that I'm going to do, because I do prefer a more flawless finish, is I'm going to start with this primer. Now this is a blurring primer. It is the Touche Eclat from YSL, and the reason that I love this is because my skin can still breathe underneath. So it is mildly hydrating, makes my skin feel velvety. It's got, I don't know if you can see here, but it's got teeny little freckles of sort of glitteriness. I don't know what the actual word for that would be, but iridescence is the one that I quite like to use. And what that does is it kind of reflects and it makes your skin appear slightly more even without actually doing anything to do that. And the blurring element just helps to reduce my pores. It makes my skin feel velvety, soft. I don't really have a problem applying any particular foundation on top of this one, so you could go ahead and use a powder, use a liquid, or use a cream based foundation, or even a matte mousse foundation if you're back into that Maybelline, which I kind of am. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, I know I've just done my primer, so your sort of next thought is that you go to foundation. I'm not going to do that. I'm doing this the way that I've seen some other makeup artists do it. I'm not a makeup artist, it's not what I meant. I meant other YouTubers anyway, but when they do their eyes, if they have any fallout, they will use the primer and just sort of use that to pull away any of the excess product on top, whilst simultaneously obviously laying new primer down, which seems to be really effective for them. So I like to just try things a slightly different way each time I do it. I'm going to use this palette here. You'll recognise it if you've seen any of my other videos because I'm quite a big fan of this palette. I keep going back to it. And I'm going to use 3 shades today that are more, in my mind, kind of neutrally. So they're called Security, Stage Persona and Seek Shade, and they are up here, this little trio. This is my dark, medium, light. They go extremely well together, and then I'm either going to use Secret Set or Private Oasis for the lighter element. I always want to do this in a halo, but every single time I've done a halo eye, I seem to have done it in a sort of purple finish. So I'm a bit mindful that I seem to be being a little bit repetitive, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take my dark shade, which is Seek Shade, onto my pigment packing brush, and this is my trusty mirror I'm just going to pat it into the outer of my crease, or at least where I would like my crease to be. So I actually go slightly above my crease to create the illusion that I have a bit more lid space, because I really don't have a lot of lid space, unfortunately. I do not have enough product on the brush to pull it over, but what that does kind of demonstrate, if you can see what's left there, is that you do need to make sure that you take off any excess from your brush, because that would have definitely darkened down any new shade that I was putting on my face. I tend to go to about the halfway point recently, but I haven't done it in my videos. I normally would have taken it right the way over, and it's just because it creates a better pop with the graduation of the lighter colour if I've not put down something too dark at this point. I'm going to switch as well from this brush, which I'm just using to drag the colour a little bit, to my blending brush, and then that's when I'm going to start to incorporate the shade Security, which is my medium shade for this look. So the blending brush that I'm using is quite tightly packed. You do get ones that are a bit looser than that. I kind of prefer them, but I just like to use the same eyeshadow brushes when I'm doing this kind of thing. I'm starting on the outer and I'm tapping the product there first of all, so that I get the most of that intensity to the outside, and then I'm actually going to sort of dust across like this before I go and do it the way that I would usually, which is twisting up towards your brow bone, and just feel like the effect is better if I do it that way. And then when I start to do this, it fades out and it just creates a nicer blend outward, but what I did before was more blending the colours actually together. I don't know if the words I use make sense all the time, but if you've got any questions, obviously let me know. Questions and feedback are always welcomed. If you want to lighten this down again, on this eyeshadow palette, the closest to a skin tone would be portrait mode. You can go ahead and just tap very, very lightly, and I'll do it on this side because it's maybe a bit more intense, and you would just sort of dust over like so. So very, very lightly dust over. And it might not be hugely noticeable on camera, but I can definitely see a difference now in this, so I'm actually going to match it to the other eye. And it just, I don't even know, it just takes away like that harshness that you can sometimes get. So I've obviously not went for anything too intense, which is really important. It can start to hide your eyes. I feel like this is taller than this one, so I am going to go back in with Seek Shade just here near the centre, because I do think that's what I've done. And then I'll go back over with my blending brush. So you can always go, it's like trial and error. Like, some people will be able to do this perfectly without fixing anything or without going back over anything, but like if you can't, like there's no shame in going back in. And taking that medium shade started to define the shape of my lid here. I don't know if you can see that quite well on camera. I hope so. The next shade that I wanted to use was Stage Persona. So this one is a much lighter shade. It's a purpley shade, and I want it to be one of the prominent colours. However, in the inner, I am going to be using one of the iridescent shades, so either Secret Set or Private Oasis. So I'm actually going to start with this here in this corner and start to pull it across the lid. So I want the colour to be there and to blend into the holographic shade. And actually you can make sure that you put just a teeny little bit of the powder down. Powder on powder doesn't always stick very well, so that's what you need to be careful of. But having the colour as like an undertone actually makes the iridescent shade pop that little bit more, I find personally. So yeah. And then for that inner, I did use Secret Set yesterday, but I think I might go ahead and use it today as well, because I'd only used it for the literal inner corner. If I use this brush, I am going to need to build. This is one of those times where I recommend actually using your finger to do it. And I literally take my middle finger, swirl it round, circular motions, and literally just pull it onto my lid like that. I like to pull across almost like the line. Again, it just makes your eyes open up, but the main focus of the actual colour should be this little triangle just here. Anything else should almost be blending out to the rest of your eye. And I think it just makes things look a bit more, it's like glamour, but just like interesting, like a pop of personality. I may as well bring this down now because I've not done any of the rest of my face yet, so it doesn't matter if I kind of get it a little bit messy. This side needs more. I really love iridescent makeup. Is that better? It's better, but this one just seems to be popping that little bit more. I wonder why that is. Is it more? I feel like maybe. It's probably the direction the light is coming in at. Yeah, I think so actually, because now if I look here, it looks like this one's got way more. So that's fine. Just going to continue to try and fix it now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I go in with my smaller brush, not this one, this is actually for your inner corner. This one here, if you've got anything similar, this is the type that I like to do underneath at the lash line with. The reason I like to use this is because it is really good for precision, and I like a smoky under eye, but like I don't want it to go too far down. I just don't like the effect as much personally. It is all about personal preference when you're doing stuff like this. And then I like to sort of take the darker line up as well, just in the flick, kind of like your cat's eye. Same way you would do your liner, and then almost sort of blend it back into a shade. Because obviously you've got the darker shade up there anyway. So I'm going to take Security just for the center and make sure that I get Stage Persona just leading into the iridescent Secret Set shade. Now what I could do here, because they are very similar shades, is just take Private Oasis. I'm going to try and lift it on this brush, but what I've said before is when I'm trying to lift the iridescent powders, I don't feel like they lift very well on brushes, like using your fingers a lot easier. The issue with that is getting your finger into this little inner corner isn't really easy. Okay, so I'm going to have to go in with my pinky again. So I've lifted it on my pinky. It is much more iridescent than Secret Set, but it's a very similar shade. So hopefully it's just going to create that extra pop. I'm just going to have to neaten it up when I'm doing the rest of my makeup. That's the only thing that I do find a little bit frustrating with this one. You can see, nice little pop, nothing too insane. Eyeliner that I like to use, I used it yesterday as well, is Epic Ink. I can't actually see it sitting here, so I'll go ahead and just do my brows next, and then I'll worry about the rest of it. In fact, let me go ahead and do that bit off cam, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've done my brows, my bronze, my powder, everything. I've just left my eyes to sort of finish off, and I'm going to use this Carter Beauty liner. Now I only like this liner with an eyeshadow look. On its own, I cannot get this to stay on my eyes whatsoever. It smudges so badly for me. I don't know why, because some people found that they couldn't actually get it to come off of their eye, so it stayed really well for them. But I have absolutely adored the brush, and I would definitely recommend it if you're just looking to use it with different eyeshadow looks, because it seems to go really well over powder. And I just like being able to create that really tiny, like, can you see how close to my lash line this like line that I'm doing is? And it does go on really black, and I can sort of layer on top as well if I want. I just find it a really easy little brush to control and use, like it's not going further up into the shadow than I want it to, and then I can just do like a baby flick, a huge flick, like whatever I want, and it's quite easy to control the brush. And I find that when it's not easy to control, that's when I get like more frustrated. It's so difficult to make them even because you think you're about to do it right and then your hand slips or whatever happens. That means it just doesn't work the way that you'd anticipated. I just, yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for this, to be honest. Just gonna take it slightly under the eye, but not too much. And that's one of my eyes done. Maybe fix this a little bit here because I've done it almost too close to the lash line, so you almost can't see it. Yeah, that's better. And then it's just a case of putting on mascara, which is just, I really like this eye look today, which is crazy because it's very similar to one that I was doing, that as I was doing it I was like, no, it's too messy. So I guess it can just be the mood that you're in as well, can impact about how much you like your makeup and like your finished results. I've actually got too much on this brush, which you can actually see has made an impact on where the liner has applied. So that was me and not the brush's fault there. Just like to highlight that. Why do you feel like you're dragging? That's ta-da! And then where's my flick? Yep. Wow, very smooth. It's not bad. They're friends at least. I think they're pretty close. Eyeliner is something that definitely takes practice, so if you're someone who's quite new to doing your liner, like, don't give up, I think would be my recommendation. I think it can seem quite overwhelming, and sometimes it can take a lot of time to do it, but once you kind of get it, it's all in the flick of the wrist, and it's not so bad. I really think I've changed where my camera angle is. I'm just going to move you guys up a little bit so you can see more of my face. Yeah, that seems a bit more like it. I don't know. I've been just like singing along to a Spotify playlist whilst I was doing the rest of my makeup, and it's called Time Capsule. I don't know if anyone's on Spotify or if you guys have that particular album, but I'm assuming it looks at what you listened to rather than just like knowing like your age and what might have been released in your area, which is a little bit unfortunate because they would probably get some that I've missed if they did it like that, because Spotify wasn't really a thing when I was like in high school, but it's playing me all sorts of strange combinations of music because I listen to strange combinations of music, but I put them in playlists together. So I have like a country playlist, I've got like a grime playlist, Afrobeats, Caribbean kind of music, pop playlist, rock playlist, like everything's separate. But when they do things like this time capsule, which I'm assuming that a few of you will also have, everything just kind of goes together. So I'm like 1 minute listening to like Davido, and then the next track that plays is a Wagon Wheel, which is a bit of a mix. Next song could be something from like Phantom of the Opera. I like it when they mix, like they put Disney songs in next to like other songs just because they're sang by Black artists. They did that for the History Month. They were playing stuff they thought I would like based on things I listen to, so again, very eclectic, and tried to put it in an album for like a Black History Month album, which I love the concept of. Definitely not against that. Most of the music they were playing were already in my other playlists anyway, so it wasn't really too much new. The stuff that was new was older music by people that I don't really know. I'm assuming American based on the accents that were coming across and like the tonality, and a lot of it was stuff that was in like Disney movies. So hearing like Beauty and the Beast right after hearing like a Beyonce, just an interesting mix. And obviously Colours of the Wind was in there, that was beautiful. Point just being it sounds a bit mental. I don't know quite how they would do that and understand, like create a system that understands the difference between the types and the genres of music and what might go together. Almost like a DJ maybe, like working with BPM, because that's in the metadata, so they would obviously have that stored. But I'm not really sure. Definitely interests me though. Okay, so this mascara is the Lacura dupe of the Benefit mascara They're Real. It takes me a few coats, as you've seen, but eventually it does get me to a similar effect. If you're wondering, yes, I did just knock my eyeliner on the floor. I knock something over in every single video, and today it was my eyeliner. And it's sitting on my foot, so if I move my foot it will fall. So I guess I'm not moving my foot. But yeah, I quite like this mascara. I like it because it's cheap. It doesn't seem to pull out my eyelashes, and it gives me a good effect. As you can see, it's quite nice, quite long. Not anything too exceptional, but I talk about this all the time. I'd love to put on lashes with this, but I'm not going anywhere and it just feels so wasteful. So I really like this eyeshadow look. I think I would like it to be a little bit stronger, and I'm going to try and find a tool that I can get, maybe with a little silicone tip, maybe that would work better. Just to get this to apply in the inner corner a little bit better, because you can see the effect is there, but I just want it to be a teeny bit bolder. And I might pull down some of the sparkle to the under eye, but I don't know, because sometimes then it transfers. And yeah, I don't know if my hair is going to be in any state to pull down, but usually when I have my eyeshadow done, wow, it's crazy. It actually looks insane. All that'll happen though is I brush this out a little bit and it just goes a bit normal. That's not too bad. It is a bit. Yeah. I prefer to have my hair down when I've got my eyes all done, because I kind of feel like, I don't know, it like looks a bit more glam. I don't know if I'm maybe just crazy. My hair looks intense. I don't even know where my brush is in order just to brush it out just now, but I use the Tangle Teasers. It's so much better for my hair. Even just running my fingers through it seems to have helped calm it just a little. But obviously I wouldn't even wear it with this hoodie anyway. But yeah, so I hope you like this look. If you've got the palette, you can definitely recreate it. If anyone's doing anything like that and you do sort of try and do any of the things I've done, I'd love to see it. Link me to your Instagram or whatever in the comments down below. If you've got any suggestions for anything else that I can do or show, please feel free to comment that as well. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up, please, as always. It makes me feel good. Don't know why, just seeing that, like how many people have liked it. It's just kind of nice. And if you like my content and you're not already subscribed, then of course you can hit that subscribe button as well, and then you'll be notified. It's predominantly unboxings I've been doing lately, but I am going to be doing a lot more of makeup-y stuff very soon, and a little bit of styling stuff, because I actually worked because I'm currently in between, but in the fashion industry, so I'm going to talk a lot more about that very soon, because I know more about that and I should mainly have been talking about that to begin with. But yeah, thanks for watching, have a great day.